As soon as you sit down, she takes.
Don't sit down.
Now.
Oh, we didn't. We don't have a flag.
Anybody have a flag on their pen?
Ryan Beester has a flag on his lapel.
Face Ryan.
Hold on. Way to go.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ryan. Braden has invocation today.
God, we thank you for the gift of a new day, for the food that we have eaten, for the love and companionship of our friends and family. As we gather here, we ask you to be with those less fortunate than us, to share your love and guidance with those who need it, to be a light for those who are lost. We also ask that you empower us so that our acts and decisions may further your vision, so that our service may improve our community, our country, and our world. All this we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Before we're seated, let's go ahead and recite the Rotary four-way test that's on the banner of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. I have a few announcements today. The first is that RILA, the Rotary Young Leadership Academy Award, it's a young leadership program that's hosted every summer. Those applications are due May 1st. So it's not a complicated application, actually, you can get it done. This is for in 9th, 10th, and 11th grades. So we have shared that information with the area school districts. Addie, you should apply. That would be excellent. So the information is at our website, RotaryClubOfClintonia.com, or you can contact me, but that deadline is May 1st. So the schools and counselors have been notified, but if you have anybody in mind, let's make sure they get that application in the next couple weeks. Next Monday, May 5th, Braden has coordinated and invited our scholarship recipients to come. So from Northeast and Clinton and Fulton, we'll have all of the graduating seniors who are getting Rotary scholarships. They'll be here to introduce themselves. And we will also get the list of recipients posted in next week's newsletter. May programs are getting published, so pay attention or, look out for those in the newsletter, but I want to make sure everyone knows we do not have Rotary on Memorial Day, May 26th. So that's an off week for us. And then I wanted to make sure to coordinate our club effort for the downtown cleanup. So the Downtown Clinton group has coordinated several dates. I'm sure Lindsay could answer our questions if we have them. Several dates. I'm going to have Rotarians sign up for Thursday, May 15th, and I'm going to send a sign up list around. But if that date doesn't work for you and you still want to be involved, I know they have multiple dates available the whole month of May. So I'll send her on this clipboard if you can help on May 15th in the afternoon, and then we'll get a big group of Rotarians together for that. Heather, did you have a Boo Bash announcement?
So the date for the 2025 Boo Bash is Friday, October 24th. Lindsay and Christy have agreed to step in and replace Sabrina since she retired the position. We're considering a venue change, so I'm going to send an email out to all of last year's committee members so that we can meet in the next 10 days to make decisions on locations. And I wanted to put the offer out that if anyone has never served on the committee or would like to serve on the committee, please reach out to me and we will get you invited. So we're going to start meeting monthly in May, and then in July we'll start meeting weekly. And we usually meet on Wednesday at 4 o'clock at the Rusty Barrel. So thank you.
It's a really good reason to join that committee, just for anybody who is wanting to help plan. We do have some Rotarians online today, so I'm not going to read their names, but want to say thank you to them for joining us online. And are there any further announcements? Come on up, Carrie. We do have a lot of people online, so that's why
John Fry requested a Rotary Foundation meeting at 1 o'clock, so there'll be a shorty.
Okay. The Rotary Foundation will meet at 1 p.m. today. All right, Mary Beth, we're ready for fellowship.
That's okay. We do have a couple of students today. Addison Lorenzen. And Haley, is it House? Okay. And those of you who have had to listen to me in the past know that I mess up names terribly. So we have the names of birthdays and anniversaries on the board here. So I thought you could maybe just read them and have a better idea. If there's anybody here that is on the birthday list, would you stand up? Nobody. Okay, anybody on the anniversary list? Stand up. There we go. I thought it might be fun to do something a little different today than having trivia. So I've come up with some questions that for you to answer. And you'll have to get your own, keep your own score. But those who will be forever in our respect. That's the prize. Okay, the first question, are you wearing your Rotary pin? Give yourself a point for that. As we know, Rotary is an international organization. To that end, do you speak a different language? If you do, give yourself. Adopted in 1943, the four-way test is one of the most quoted guides. Can you recite the four-way test without looking? If you can, give yourself a point. This year, Rotary is 120 years old. Have you been a member for more than 10 years? If you give yourself a point for that. One of the most important obligations of Rotary clubs is to propose new members. If you've done that, you can give yourself a point. We all know that Rotary International convenes annually to conduct business and inspire members. Have you been to a Rotary International convention? If you have, you can have a point. The Paul Harris House is in Chicago. and has been turned into a museum. Have you been to visit? If you have, you can have a point. Have you attended a Thursday evening meeting? Anybody, you can have a point. And the last one, are you proud to be a Rotarian? You can have a point. Okay, so did anybody get all 10? Raise your hand. Anybody get 9? Okay, there, we respect you.
Don't be fooled.
Anybody have 8? Nobody, 7? 7, okay, well, you know we respect you, Carrie. 6, lots of 6s. 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Okay, thank you.
My wife keeping giving me my $5.
Susie, do I just switch it on this computer? Sorry, I can't live without you.
Share from Zoom.
And just select the whole screen or entire screen. Since I'm gonna skip to the.
Yeah, go to that one first. You'll just have to hit stop share and then share again. I don't think it will.
But if you do the entire screen, you don't have to stop.
You can try that. I've not had good luck with it, but go ahead. And then hide floating. Slideshow. And then the arrows should work. You want to test it before. Yeah. Yay. Okay.
Well, you guys get a lot of listening to me today, so sorry about that. And actually Sue Watkins is our program chair for this month, so thanks to Sue for organizing everything. I did ask for some time on the programs because I wanted to share out to the whole club a little bit about an update on my presidential project. So I know most of you in the room, but for the purpose of being thorough, I'm Carrie Donaire. I'm this year's club president. I'm the marketing officer at Citizens First Bank. I've been a Rotarian since 2014 or so. And Mary Beth, along the lines of your fellowship, our club, Rotary, is 120 years old. Our club will be 110 this July. So we are right up there with the entire Rotary organization, partially due to our proximity to Chicago, where Paul Harris kicked off the entire Rotary world. So anyway, the purpose of my presentation today is to share an update and just some takeaways from the Food Security Summit that was held in March at Clinton Community College. So basically, we as a club have a really nice tradition of doing a presidential project. We have a history of some really nice initiatives that have then stayed with the club. A few examples of those are the Josh the Otter Water Safety Project. Rich Klon kicked that off for our club, and then that has stayed year after year, where we do education for kindergartners on water safety. We have another presidential project that has more than just the 1-year lifespan. is Andrew Kita did his train safety project. That also resulted in some upgrades to the Comanche train depot, but then it went well beyond his Rotary presidential year. We have some longstanding traditions like giving dictionaries to our area third graders, to continuing those literacy and education initiatives. So naively, I thought that this project was just going to be neat and tidy in my presidential year, and that's not going to be the case, but that's an okay thing. You'll learn more about why. Anyway, part of this tradition is that the president aligns his or her ideas with the Rotary International. So for me, that was food security, and just really understanding hunger in our community and understanding what the needs are and letting Rotary be the convener of this event. The tagline I landed on was working together on sustainable solutions to address food insecurity in our community. Part of the background of why I chose this topic or this area of need is that we have for many years been supportive of an international project where we collaborate with the Rotary Club of Seattle and the Rotary Club of Mexico City to make sure that there's funding and resources available in Oaxaca, Mexico, in a very drought-ridden region where they do vegetable greenhouses, they use drip irrigation and make sure that there's food and especially fresh produce available to their community. The other kind of guiding light for me was that my Peace Corps service, way back when, 2003 to 2005, was a food security initiative in Nicaragua. So that was my first experience working hands-on with hungry communities and hungry people and figuring out the solutions. So that's a long time ago, but I thought this is my opportunity to leverage the club and leverage what we're all about and say, you know, this happens here locally too, and we know that it does. So that was sort of the reasons behind it, a little bit of background. We put a great committee together. I'll announce their names. There's another slide with a photo, but the committee started getting together last fall, and I really tried to find representation both from Rotary and club members, but also community members, knowing that we just get different perspectives. So that committee ended up putting together basically a full day schedule. So we created this schedule, welcoming all of the participants. We invited a keynote speaker. She was excellent. We had concurrent, it was like a conference, honestly. It was like concurrent sessions on understanding barriers to hunger, or barriers to food security, and also understanding what are some of those solutions that our community can look at to carry this forward and not just kind of identify the need, but just leave it hanging. So we made sure to include those aspects of the workshop also. I have to grab a water. I didn't have enough water yet this morning, so sorry. Okay, so the committee, and there's not everyone is pictured here, but I want to make sure to recognize everyone. In the photo, Emily Webb is at the far left. She was our keynote speaker. She traveled from Des Moines to be with us. She was excellent. We have Alethea Cahoy, one of our Rotarians, Heather Christensen with Clinton County Public Health, myself, Andy Green, and Susie Messiker. And then we also had on the group Michelle Cullen, also with Clinton County Public Health, and we knew she was going to have a conflict the day of the event, but she was extremely participatory and extremely helpful in the initiative. We had Regan Mickelson from Information Referral also served on the committee, and she honestly is at the hub of this wheel. That organization for our town is extremely important, and she's right at the heart of these issues. Lisa Toppert is the Clinton Community College Culinary Director. She does their whole culinary program, and she was a godsend for this. She just helped whip it all into shape and involved her students as well. And then Sarah Science, who is a dietitian and nutritionist locally, and she consulted on that committee. So that was really cool to have her help. So the day of the summit, we had about 60 participants, and I wanted to also share some of the organizations they represented because we really wanted to get the right people in the room. Yes, it's right to have everybody helping and everybody involved, but with that conference format, we said we really want people who have some expertise in this area, or their organization is already doing something, or there's a program that they can come back to their organization and say, this is what it was all about. I made a new connection today. I'm looking for food. They're looking for where to donate their food. I mean, that's obviously a very simplistic representation of it, but that was the idea. So we had people from Mercy One. We had someone come from Senator Joni Ernst's office. We had people coming from Iowa Department of Health and Human Services. We had some rural food pantries represented. We had the Lost Nation Community Food Center. So that was kind of cool once we expanded the audience and said, yes, absolutely. Clinton County, our greater area, we wanted it to be inclusive rather than exclusive. We had Walmart was there, and you guys know they're a corporate member of Rotary, but they were able to make some connections for donating food. They volunteered that day. We had a lot of good volunteers. We had Sisters of St. Francis, Riverbend Food Bank. Anyone who knows Gretchen Nolman from the Rotary 6000 district, she's the director at the Riverbend Food Bank, so she brought several of her staff. So without going down the entire exhaustive list, DeWitt Referral Center, Victory Center, Information Referral, YWCA, Clinton County Board of Health, Clinton Public Library, and others. So it was really helpful to have a set purpose and really zero in on who needed to be there. So we had great participation. Just take a minute to talk to you guys about Emily Webb. She was amazing. Francis Bogus, who's our fellow Rotarian, he's very active in our community through Hometown Pride, but he's also very active in Des Moines and Polk County. So he made this connection. I told him very early on, I want a facilitator, someone who can bring everybody together, but also who can maybe speak knowledgeably and have some sort of motivation for the group without being a motivational speaker who came and said, hey, what are you guys working on? So that's exactly what Emily did. She's very familiar. She's the youngest board president for DMARC, so Des Moines Area Religious Council, but that Religious Council is the host for like 14 different food banks. They have a grocery shopping model. So when it's your day or your family's day to come in and get your food box, you actually go in a grocery shopping format. So it's extremely inclusive. It's extremely sensitive to the issues that the families are going through. And then they also coordinate with fresh produce and donation gardens. And she just had a wealth of ideas. I can't say enough about how she showed up for our community and just inspired everybody there because she was just so close to it and wanted to be part of it, and she helped facilitate this much greater conversation. So really grateful for her. And she's fun and nice. Here's the Clinton Community College culinary group. So Lisa's their instructor. They also had an Eastern Iowa Community College person with them. And there were 4 culinary students. They planned the menu. And this is obviously, I said, we would be really missing the mark if we had a food security summit and it was all day. And then we just like kind of absentmindedly catered lunch. This is about breaking bread. This is about coming together. And we're talking about families who either they need something, right? If they have the food, do they have the education? What am I making with this? How do I stretch this? How do I meal plan? How do I grocery shop? How can I make this stretch further for my family and feed my family? And what does affordability mean for me? If I can afford to get to one grocery store, but it's expensive on certain things, really understanding the lay of the land. So we said from the outset, let's talk to the culinary students and see how they'd like to be involved. And they just really rose to the challenge and created a cool menu, but it also was about the affordability of the food. So that was, I think that really showed potential and a partnership. So Clinton Community College also hosted for us, and that was through our connections with Brian Kelly through Rotary. And I said, that's kind of the whole point of this entire thing for me, is leveraging the network of Rotary and saying, this is a broad group of people. And if there's an issue in the community, we can be the ones to solve it. So that was great. On the committee, I mentioned we had Clinton County Public Health represented, so Michelle Colin and Heather Christensen said, hey, this is going to be all the people we really want in the same room at the same time. We need to talk more about what is people's awareness and what is our level of community awareness on hunger. So I don't know if this is big enough for you guys to see, but basically we did a scale, and this is just to get it's like a litmus test, right? For 2025, this is what we're saying we know about and where we think the issues lie, and then hopefully in years to come, we'll be able to do this same typical kind of survey and see the needle move for our community. But basically, to the far left, the 1, it means very often, and then the far right, the 10 is never. So how often does food insecurity affect your community? So you can see where the trend is there. It's very often. And how often do people in your community rely on food banks? So trending to fairly often. And when this is 26 responses, we had about 60 participants. So I think that's decent results for any sort of survey when it's not mandatory. How often do people in your community have trouble accessing healthy food choices, such as fresh produce? So 1 being very often, 10 never. And then how often do people in your community buy unhealthy food because it is cheaper? How often does food insecurity affect people's overall health and well-being? I think if I had to do it all over again, I would put the number of days or weeks, more specifics, because it's like, well, but you know, yes, it happens often. People are seeing this happen often and frequently, but I'd like to get a little more into the nitty gritty. So maybe something to look at for next time. So I wanted to touch on this today, community awareness. So all those wonderful projects that we talk about, I know that all of us as Rotarians anyway, often hear, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you did dictionaries. I didn't know you did Kicks for Kids. I didn't know that was going on. So another goal of this project was just bringing awareness to the idea and bringing awareness to the club, because Rotary can ultimately serve as a resource. I don't know if this will play or not, but we can give it a try.
Stop sharing that share. Oh, there it goes.
There's just no, maybe the ad doesn't have sound.
You might have to put the microphone at the thing when it starts. There should be sound.
It's like a 30-second ad.
Yeah, there should be sound, but there is an embedded thing in Zoom. Yeah, it's not. You can put the speaker to the.
It's not showing here.
Oh, well, that's weird. Okay.
both women reached out to us.
Since I have that video, maybe I'll just,
Okay. Just to not do it twice, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, we'll come back to the idea of visibility, because that's what we've kind of focused on, like coming out of the summit, is there's maybe two different branches that we need to focus on the visibility. Number one would be who's here to support this, who are the organizations and resources, that whether it's funding or education, visibility to those organizations of what else is going on. And then visibility to people who are looking for food, right? So creating some sort of reference or resource. So we are working on a video, and I want to give a sneak preview of it today, but this isn't the final video that's going to be shared. There is a person in the video who's receiving a food box, and that's not something that we would share publicly, but I'm comfortable sharing it with this group because I think the visibility is so important. It's so important to see, you know, the volunteers are putting it together, but this is what it looks like to pick up your food. So just so you guys know, that's not something that would be public, but is still an important part of the message. But Susie, I can't do this by myself.
but maybe you don't want it on the recording.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You probably
Right.
won't want it on the
Sure.
recording, so we won't share it. Sorry, people at the home.
Sorry, online people. So,
It's not gonna show up there because I'm not showing.
um, hmm.
Because I'm not showing it online, and that one's the one that's showing online. Otherwise, it's gonna end up on recording.
Okay, show it.
Let's do that. We'll show it after the meeting. Good idea.
Yeah, I can switch the course.
So now how do I get back to my car? But you didn't stop the recording, did you?
No,
Okay.
no, I was just gonna have it to where it just
Right.
showed them and not
Yeah.
you. So
We'll find a way to make, so let everybody see that. There you go. Thank you. Okay, so that's a little bit, that's sort of what I was saying, is telling the story. It's not about Rotary being part of the story. The important part for Rotary is us positioning ourselves as a network and a convener, but telling the story for our community to help people get the help they need, and then making those connections. So that's been a really key outcome for me, seeing like the different organizations who weren't aware or who needed a face with a name or could, you know, carry something forward from another organization. So I also want to mention that this, not surprisingly, there's layers of the problem, right? That was sort of what the group talked about for understanding barriers. For one family, the barrier might be transportation. For another family, the barrier might be, just stigma. And I think for a lot of folks, the barrier might be just knowing what's available. You know, some of the church suppers are good about publishing and can get to a broader network. And, you know, others, it's just a matter of getting where you need to go when the food is available. Another layer of the issue, I was bringing this magazine because it was just like great, interesting timing. Rotary International had an article about food waste. So that's another issue. I really look at these culinary students, and not just the CCC ones, but the Clinton High School culinary students too. Yeah, they're interested in culinary because they want to be an executive chef, or they want to go farther, like exploring their trade and their art. But no matter where you're the executive chef, you work to eliminate food waste. And so you got to find those pantries and find the recipients. And so it's just sort of always part of the conversation around food is food waste, nutrition, etc. All right, so what's next? So like I said, I was hoping it was gonna be this little neat, tidy project and tie it off within the Rotary year, but it's actually, instead of being the end of the project, it's the beginning. And I feel really good about that because I think there is interest from these organizations to continue to get together and to work together. So next step is a quarterly meeting. We said, let's just, CCC has been very generous as a partner, and so they said, go ahead and continue to host it at CCC. So Rotary can continue to be a catalyst for this. This is not what we will do as an organization, but we can certainly put some oomph behind it and help coordinate a quarterly meeting. So that group will meet June 10th at the Career Advancement Center again. And as I mentioned, Regan and information referral is really at the hub of this. So hoping that this will support her and put some wind in her sails. We plan to, through Marcia Thrall, who's the Rotarian, we're going to make some connections at the Lions Farmers Market. There are some donation garden projects going on, so making sure that that fresh produce doesn't go to waste and gets into the pantry shelves, and making sure it's done in a way that people know what to make with it and what the nutritional value is. And then I just would say next steps is just some more continued support from Rotary. That group will go on to meet and develop some resources. So there have been a lot of ideas that came from the session on focusing on solutions. So a map, something that shows, in your neighborhood what's available, whether it's a produce table or a donation garden or connecting with information referral. Continuing to look at how to eliminate those barriers. And then I just wanted to summarize some of the takeaways. We know that the need is growing in our community. There are many efforts. You can't really talk, we're not starting at zero. There's a lot of organizations who are already working toward alleviating hunger. It's just a matter of, supporting those efforts. Rotary, I think, is uniquely positioned because there's so many of us and we have that service mindset. So we represent organizations, we represent many volunteers, we represent, good ideas. So I think Rotary is in a unique position to support this. And then, you could sit here all day talking about the partnerships that already exist and some that have potential for the future. But basically, there's a great opportunity for creative solutions. That's all I had. We'll show the other video after, but regardless, it just shows everyone coming together at the summit, and then it shows what it looks like to put those food boxes together at information referral. And the reason I think that's important is because you can talk about it and it's this abstract idea of hunger, but what it looks like when you see volunteers putting food together and you see people coming who might have overcome some barriers, or that it's an infrequent thing for them, it just kind of puts a little bit of, it makes it, I don't know, brings it home, brings the idea home to be able to see what it looks like. So I'm happy to take your questions. Mark.
When is the next scheduled summit?
The question is when the next summit is. There's no set date for a large summit of this sort. The result was sort of that a quarterly meeting might keep things on track even better. So there could be one in the future, but it has not been set. Gary.
You talk about eating healthy, and a lot of that is perishable, pretty quickly, fresh vegetables, that kind of thing. Was there conversations of how do you get that healthier food, yet with the challenge of it doesn't have a very long shelf life? I just know that with information referral and things we are doing with kids, it is more of macaroni and cheese and canned goods and things that are going there that aren't as perishable, but probably not as healthy.
For anyone online, just the question is about perishable food and shelf life and things like that. You're spot on, Gary, because that's immediately where the conversation turns. Number one, preparation of food. Do I have a refrigerator? Do I have a stove? Is my family maybe between apartments or staying with a friend and we may not be able to use a full kitchen? And then preservation, right? Like if you get this food box and it's going to be a couple weeks before you get another, fresh food, what's the order in which I eat this, or how do I meal plan accordingly? So preservation techniques, that's another place where I really see like the culinary students or people who understand canning, freezing, that's a really great opportunity to impart that knowledge on others. But that's where the conversation usually turns. Ryan?
Carrie, the 29 that participated in that survey, that was with people in that room.
Yes.
So that's not people that are food insecure. Do you have any data on that?
Yes, the survey was taken by people who are maybe on that side of the lens where they're seeing families come in, so they know the need is high. And it was not taken, nor was it geared to like just a general population, but I think that would be a great.
Does the food bank have data about that?
Yeah, and we could request that from Gretchen. They are looking at data and just, okay, the need is higher. And I think in her interview, Regan said, 140% higher. But how does that compare long term? What are the reasons? It can be pretty complex, but I don't have those stats, but I think Gretchen would be a good resource. Paul?
Did you talk about the potential changes of funding that seem to be coming along? I understand Riverbend Food Bank is probably losing millions. That there's a change of who should support the hungry. SNAP benefits, a lot of other things seem to be coming along real quick.
Yeah, the question is about funding, federal funding, SNAP benefits, et cetera. Yeah, I think the model is shifting, which is why I think the donation gardens and like local control over what, grow it and eat it. But obviously that's seasonal. To Gary's point, that can be quite seasonal. There were conversations about that. I think the general takeaway is that it's just becoming more challenging. And to paraphrase what Regan has shared with me is that you just don't always know what they're going to have. And so even though, and I'm sure we've all heard, your cash donation is going to go further than like the mac and cheese and canned soup because they can use those funds at the food bank. But now the food bank is also, not that it's not reliable, you just are not always able to count on exactly what might be needed. Kate?
Brought something up that posed the question for myself. Clients, farmers market. At the end of the farmers market, let's say on Wednesday, they probably have farmers market Thursday or Friday. Saturday's farmers market may not have another market to go to for several days. There could be an ask to those people that are selling there. If you've got stuff that's been picked 2 days ago and really needs to be on somebody's plate within the next 48 hours, they welcome to the idea of donating what was left at noon on Saturday. I don't know where you would donate it to, maybe the Victory Center or somebody that is cooking and can put that to use right away.
Right.
Because that'd be a shame to throw that fresh vegetable away on Saturday.
Yeah. For those online, Pete's question is about farmers market and perishable goods that like won't last till the next farmers market. So Ann Eisenman was our guest last week, a speaker, and she and I had a side conversation. She's involved with Iowa State Extension, and they're, I don't know how soon or if it will happen in Clinton, but they're trying to do a program where you have like a token or a coupon so families have like some buying power at the farmers market. That would also speak to the Des Moines area's like supermarket setup, so that if the farmers market produce was left over, it could go on a shelf right away, so that it's not being wasted. But I do know that our farmers market, I think, accepts WIC. So the women, infant, and children, if they have some buying power through that, and it's usually pretty affordable anyway. Accessibility and that community map of where people live and where things are also comes into play, but yeah, it's definitely a puzzle.
I do know that those conversations have taken place with the farm market people. I'm not sure where the status of that is right now. I do know with there was a lot of based on where the farmers live and where that food ended up going. I don't know where that has landed, but those conversations have started.
Be a shame if they're going to throw it away that afternoon or something.
Yeah.
There's also, I've learned this through my process on the project, is that there's really different rules for like, produce and if grains are being donated than if it's like the convenience store and they have like deli sandwiches, right, that they're gonna expire. So then now you have all this like packaged food and pre-made food. And although it might not be the top nutrition you're looking for, it fills bellies. And so there's kind of different sets of rules on what comes from where. So these organizations are navigating all of that too.
We waste a lot of food.
Hey, Karen, I think you need to be commended for bringing all of us together. I think it was a lot of linking going on and a lot of desires from the group that they didn't know all that the Victory Center did. I didn't know many of the things that they did, and that was brought out so very well. And I think the desire to do greater things in the future is definitely there. So you did a great job of putting this all together, but it needed to happen.
Thanks, Ray. Yay! Yes, that was I was a little astounded at first. It's like, do you want to help? Yes. Do you want to help? Yes. 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 I don't think I heard a no the whole time. So that's like a kudos to everyone who stepped up to help. To you, Ray, brought a lot of staff that day from Victory Center, and that was very, really a blessing to be able to just hear so many yeses from all of you guys included. So thank you for the support. Susie, I'm done. Are you done?
And, oh, we didn't do guests. We didn't do guests, but we have student guests, Addison and Haley. Did you want to stand up and be recognized as a guest? Thank you. In honor of our speaker, the Rotary Club of Clinton donates a book to the Clinton Public Library. In honor of our speaker today, who is our president, it's Neighborhood Helper. And this is one of those I read books, and it's really cute. You can't really see, but there's a shopping bag with some produce inside. So if you would sign that, we would really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So how do we want to show this?
Oh, yeah, let's do it with.
Can I X out of the meeting?
Yeah, just hit end, just hit leave.